Hi there. Welcome to another Tuesday viewing of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Jamaica joins the rest of the world in observing International Universal Health Coverage Day. This is where the United Nations General Assembly endorsed a resolution urging countries to accelerate progress towards universal health coverage, UHC, which is the idea that everyone, everywhere should have access to quality, affordable health care. Let us try towards this as a nation that cares for the well-being of its people. We have more coming up. Please stay with us.
We all play a pivotal role in proactively filling up the blood bank by donating blood, by encouraging those who can donate to do so regularly, and by offering support, whatever that looks like. So be it to retweet it, be it to ask a family member, tell a friend, a co-worker, a colleague, even a stranger.
1 liter of blood can save 3 lives. You can give half of that at any of the Ministry of Health and Wellness's blood collection sites. There is no time to wait in a time of crisis where blood is needed. Every passing moment, the life of someone who needs blood hangs in the balance.
I stand here before you as a testimony of the life-saving effects of donating blood. Someone gave, that's why I am alive today.
If you are 17 to 60 years old and in good health, please give so others can live.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, December 12, 2023. Jamaican youth now have access to a life skills WhatsApp-based chatbot known as Fundu. It is an initiative of the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, and You Report Jamaica. The digital life coach originated in India. It offers essential skills such as resume writing, interpersonal relationship management, career guidance, time management, critical thinking, and budgeting. Fundu was launched last week in partnership with Flow, Digicel, Project Star, and the Heart NSTA Trust. Minister with responsibility for skills and digital transformation, Senator Dana Morris-Dixon, commended UNICEF and You Report on the launch of Fundu.
The potential of technology like Fundu for social and economic development in Jamaica is immense. Our young people need a lot of support. They may not get it at home. It may not be available in school necessarily or in the community. And that's what Fundu is. It's that partner. It's that partner that's with you, whispering to you, saying, I can help you. I can help you with the areas you are maybe a little bit deficient in.
Prior to the launch, more than 200 young people, including students from the Caribbean Christian Center for the Deaf, actively engaged in focus groups to ensure that the chatbot was culturally appropriate. UNICEF Jamaica Project Manager Daniel Mullings says the telecommunications companies will provide zero-rated access to Fundu and offer incentives to users in the form of credit. This will take effect January 2024.
Looking ahead, we're so excited about the possibilities. With Project Star, we anticipate engaging with the youth in their various communities. And of course, with Heart Trust, we've already started working on turning some of their career content into bite-sized tasks on Fundu, which will also be coming next year.
Ms. Mullings indicates that Fundu is inclusive in that the chatbot can communicate with users via voice note to facilitate the blind or those who are not sufficiently literate. To register, send the word Fundu to UNICEF's You Report WhatsApp number at 876-838-4897. You will then be prompted to register. After that's completed, you will receive notifications encouraging you to complete various skill-building tasks. Approximately 3,124 children 0 to 6 years old with developmental disabilities are currently receiving early intervention services. These include speech and physiotherapy, advanced developmental screening and evaluation, counseling, community and center-based interventions, and behavior therapy. The services are being offered free of cost by the Early Stimulation Program through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says approximately 165 interventions have been conducted in rural areas via the ministry's mobile units.
Importantly, it is this government that in September 2023 opened its doors to 223 new students with developmental disabilities in Kingston and Portland. Additionally, Madam Speaker, we have assisted approximately 60 children with mild to severe disabling conditions to transition into special and regular primary education.
He informs that the government is also training more than 800 parents in intervention techniques to better care for and manage their children with disabilities.
Persons with disabilities are often defined by their physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment. Nevertheless, many have risen above expectations to excellence, and it is our duty to facilitate their growth and inclusion in all areas of our society and to provide them with opportunities to overcome challenges.
The Public Health Department is urging operators of food establishments to adhere to the provisions of their license to ensure safe food practices. Among the provisions are ensuring staff members possess food handlers' permits, maintaining clean facilities, and having running water and sanitary conveniences in place. Under the Public Health Act, adequate hand-washing facilities must be in place, and the principal food preparation areas must be equipped with potable running water, wash basin, liquid soap, hand drying device, and non-contact waste bins. The Act also states that staff members should wash hands thoroughly before starting to prepare food and after every interruption, especially if the person had to scratch or go to the toilet. Hand washing is also required after preparing raw food, such as fish, meat, or poultry, and washed again before handling other foods. Fingernails must be without nail polish, short and trimmed, and there should be no smoking in the food areas. The Public Health Department says consumers have a personal responsibility to make certain observations and report breaches. This includes looking for the food handler's establishment license, which should be placed in a noticeable location. And finally, inscription of the archaeological site of Port Royal on the UNESCO World Heritage List is currently going through the nomination process. Port Royal was destroyed by an earthquake in 1692 when a large portion of the town fell into the sea and about 2,000 people died because of the tremor. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, says a file containing the management plan, maps, and other important information supporting the nomination will be submitted at the end of this month. She was speaking at the 65th anniversary church service of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust on Sunday.
The final submission of the nomination will be done at the end of January in 2024, when we will know if that site will be declared by the UNESCO.
Minister Grange further notes that Port Royal is the first of its kind to be placed on the World Heritage List of 17th century English settlement underwater archaeological sites. Jamaica has other sites on the World Heritage tentative list, including the Cockpit Country and the Seville Heritage Park Museum. Jamaica's first World Heritage site, the Blue and John Crow Mountains, was inscribed to UNESCO's World Heritage List on July 3, 2015. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Once upon a time in a Caribbean island known for its rich culture, natural beauty, lived a group of people who were buried in piles and piles and more piles of paper. Papers spanning back to the start of time. Then came a bright idea, harnessing technology to work smarter and not harder. The government of Jamaica is improving its operations to serve citizens better. many services are now available online, and there's more to come. The Government of Jamaica, building a better public sector for all.
Located in the lower abdomen, this triangular-shaped organ assists in the excretion of waste from our bodies. Although it's one of the least publicized cancers, it, of course, has damaging effects. We learn more about bladder cancer next.
According to the World Health Organization's World Health Ranking, someone in Jamaica is more likely to lose their life from prostate cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, stomach, cervical, liver, uterine, and even ovary cancer before they'll ever go from bladder cancer. Now, the rarity of this illness drafted local statistics at 0.34% of the total number of deaths in the island in 2018. That's only 62 people. But of course, that's 62 people too many. And maybe, just possibly, 62,000 people not having ever heard of this disease until now.
So the bladder is a small muscular organ that is in the pelvis, deep down in the pelvis. Its purpose is really to store urine. Now, cancer, as has been said before, it refers to the unregulated abnormal growth of cells, and in this case it would be the bladder. So bladder cancer is unregulated growth, usually from the lining of the bladder, that is abnormal cell growth. So the signs and symptoms of bladder cancer, usually the commonest sign is usually hematuria. Now what hematuria is blood in the urine. So usually it's painless hematuria, maybe painful hematuria, which is pain along with blood in the urine. Also, there may be irritative bladder symptoms, or as we would say, storage, lower urinary tract symptoms. Some of these include urgency, frequency, going to the bathroom frequently, waking up often at nights, it's known as nocturia, and in general, some dysuria, which is like burning when you pass your urine.
Now, before you experience any of those symptoms, there are some causative factors that lead to bladder cancer that you may want to assess first. It simply means that while it happens, it's usually preventable.
The commonest causative factor for bladder cancer is cigarette smoking. It's actually associated with about 50 to 60% of bladder cancers. There are other risk factors which are known as occupational hazards. So individuals who work in the industries and have prolonged exposure to aromatic amines, aromatic hydrocarbons. So in the textile industry, painters, those who work with tar, amongst other occupational hazards, are at risk for bladder cancer. Patients who also have, for whatever reason, they'll have chronic irritation to the bladder. So there's a parasitic infestation known as schistosomiasis that's really associated with bladder cancer also. Patients who have chronic catheters, indwelling catheters, as well as bladder stones and a few other things that cause chronic irritation to the bladder.
Now, bladder cancer is very picky when it comes down to gender, with the likelihood of displaying its sprouting behavior on men more often than women. And while the data shows that you don't necessarily need to be thinking about this until you're well over your 40s, there is proof that it affects many of us who are nowhere near to collecting our pension. Wow.
The older you become is the more at risk you are. Usually not before the age of 40 that bladder cancer is seen. It's more common in the 5th to 6th decades of life. 5th, 6th, 7th decades of life. It's actually more common in men than women, and this is thought to be associated with lifestyle amongst other things. Bladder cancer is very treatable. In fact, most bladder cancers present as organ-confined disease, meaning that they're absolutely curable. The treatment options include definitely surgery. This involves what is known as a transurethral resection of the bladder to actually get diagnosis, and in some cases is curative if the tumor is completely gotten. This involves passing instruments through the urethra, which is the opening through which you pass urine from the bladder. And that allows us to see the tumor. It allows us to resect or scrape the tumor away from the bladder wall. And in some cases, we may or may not give intravesical immunotherapy or chemotherapy, depending on the risk of the disease. But that's usually how bladder cancer is initially treated.
So now may be a good time to just pause for a bit and think about the causes, signs, and symptoms of bladder cancer. And if you've been treated from it before, remember to get your regular checkups because bladder cancer has a high recurrence rate. Watching from the sidelines or the confines of a bed can be a bit of a sting for some, piercing for others. So let's go stronger and healthier together by prioritizing our health.
Practicing good oral health is essential in maintaining fresh breath and a healthy smile. Always remember to brush twice daily for 2 minutes with fluoride toothpaste to strengthen tooth enamel and help fight gum disease. Always brush in a circular motion using a soft toothbrush. Floss once daily to remove food particles between the teeth and the gum line. Use a mouthwash to clean areas of the mouth a toothbrush or floss can't reach. Change your toothbrush every 3 to 4 months. Visit your dentist every 6 months for checkups and cleaning. And be sure to drink water to keep gum disease, plaque, and cavities at bay. Remember, good oral health is key to a healthy mouth.
It's one of the first things people look at when you catch their attention. Having a beautiful smile has its perks, but it goes deeper than the surface. Tooth decay and no evidence of lumps, ulcers, or unusual color on or under the tongue, cheeks, or gums is what makes a healthy mouth.
Dental health is really important because the mouth is the entry point of nutrition in our bodies. And if it is not functioning properly, then we run the risk of not getting the correct nutrition. Actually, we refer more so to oral health these days than dental health. If we have bad teeth that impair our ability to chew properly, then we will tend to keep away from certain food groups that could be challenging to chew. People with bad oral hygiene, people who use and eat, drink a lot of sweets. You can have decay, and you can also have, along with it, periodontal gum disease. You know, the big one that jump out at me is periodontal disease, gum disease. That is when the gum begin to be bleedy, sore, puffy, and just generally uncomfortable. It carries some social consequences, bad breath, and you tend to lose self-confidence. It's so important to have a consultation with your dental personnel, whether the dental surgeon or the hygienist, who will be able to diagnose the needed treatment for such a condition. All sugars are bad, but everything is in moderation. The Jamaica Dental Association endorsed the efforts of the government in reducing the levels of sugar in the bottled beverages. The aim is to get it to 2.5 milligrams in 100 mils by the year 2023. It would be roughly 2.5 teaspoonful. The current level that the government has aimed for, and it was introduced the end of January, is 5 milligrams per 100 mils. So that is coming from 6.5, so it's a gradual reduction. And the taste will be not so significantly different. As a dentist, I recommend the soft, but I'm aware that a lot of patients tend towards the harder ones. It does some damage by cutting a little line at the neck of the teeth, just where the teeth meet the gum line. So we recommend the soft toothbrush. It's really important to begin by putting the brush on the gum. A lot of people avoid the gum because they tend to think that it makes the gum bleedy. It's the exact opposite. It is as a result of not brushing the gum why there is some amount of bleediness. And you should brush in the direction of growth. The top ones, you brush them down in a circular motion, and the bottom ones, you brush them up, covering all surfaces. Don't forget your tongue and, as I said before, the gum itself. Flossing is very, very important. If you try to imagine that the toothbrush does not get between the teeth, the only thing that can remove the material that will accumulate between the teeth would be the dental floss. The technique is also important. Hold it short, get it past that little tight area, and gently bring it down into the gum, that little crevice of the gum, and remove it. Remove material that might have accumulated there. And we recommend 6 monthly checkup. If you tend to be prone to decays, we would really like to see you every 6 months. If you have been checked and you are pretty much okay, a yearly visit would be adequate. Extraction really is the last resort. With regular examination, we can pick up using x-rays and visual examination early decays, and these can be effectively dealt with by regular fillings. If it has gone too far and it is now in the nerve, there are other procedures called root canals that can be done, and sometimes we need to cover the entire tooth with a crown to bring it back to usefulness. If your teeth are malaligned, just not aesthetically pleasing, or are causing some kind of effect on your body, then they should be straightened. Orthodontic treatment or braces simply mean moving the teeth through bone to put them in a more harmoniously pleasing position. It's important because you are moving teeth through bone, and the harmony between the joint, the soft tissues, and the teeth must be respected. Not respecting it can result in pain in the joint, headaches, and just a general sense of discomfort in your mouth. It's important to visit your dentist regularly and without fear, because with new technology, and we now have many new dentists in our system, where it's not difficult to get an appointment to see a dentist on a regular basis. There's always a needle, but outside of that, there's absolutely no pain.
The festivities of the season have begun, which unfortunately also means there's now a high risk of danger and unforeseen situations. Up next, we hear from the Jamaica Fire Brigade and how we can have a safe Christmas.
When it comes to Christmas lights, please ensure if you're leaving the house, plug them out. If you're going to bed, plug them out. Now, for adults especially, don't tell yourself that the child is going to plug them out when they finish watching TV. We know a lot of persons will be purchasing Christmas trees. Make sure you look for the UL rating for man-made Christmas trees. If you're using a live tree, make sure that you cut some of the lower branches off so that it will be able to fit into a container that you can pour some water in. Make sure that you are putting some water in that container at least every day. And the reason for this is, even though it's a so-called dead tree, the branches are still soaking up some amount of water and maintaining some amount of moisture, which will keep it fresher for longer. The fresher it is, the least likely it will catch fire. Position your Christmas tree at least 3 feet away from all heat sources. And when we speak of heat sources, a television is a heat source, the cable box is a heat source, all appliances are heat sources. So make sure that you position these trees at least 3 feet away. And you want to ensure when you put the decorations on them as well, the lights as well, what you want to ensure is that there's circulation space around the tree. And that will help to maintain the room temperature around that tree. One of the main things that we have to point out when it comes to holiday cooking, never ever leave the cooking unattended. We know how difficult that is when you have friends and family over, but please ensure you don't leave the cooking unattended. Worst, if you feel like you need to take a nap, and after you wake up, you do the cooking. Don't start cooking and tell yourself you're going to take a nap because enough water is in the pot. It won't boil over, it won't dry out. We have seen a lot of cases where this has led to fires, and we know that there'll be a lot more cooking in the Christmas season as well. As much as is possible, wear appropriate clothing. So long flowing sleeves that can hang over and catch fire, you don't want to be wearing those. And kitchen towels, make sure that at all times they are kept away from the stove. If it is that you have wind blowing in a particular direction, make sure you check the direction of the wind. No curtains can get to your stove. Children are naturally curious. At all times, no child must come within 3 feet of a stove. Make sure that you keep them away. Make sure you tell them why. Tell them what can happen if they do certain things, if they disobey, and make sure that they understand. Because what you don't want is for them to use that natural curiosity and then go ahead and experiment and try to find out why mommy say I mustn't light the stove when she light the stove. And again with children, make sure that no child under 12 is cooking.
Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. Mosquitoes will breed in any container that holds water.
Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, barrels, buckets and tanks. If this cannot be done, pour cooking oil on the water surface. Punch holes in all tins, plastics and beverage boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover all tires or fill with dirt to prevent water collection. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs. Use mosquito repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites. Dispose of garbage properly by placing in plastic bags and securing properly to prevent water collection.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This is where we leave you for today, but of course we'll be back right here tomorrow. Remember, you may visit our website jis.gov.jm to catch up on this show and much more. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.